A crime is, at its heart, a puzzle. It is a disruption of the natural order of things, a tear in the fabric of society that demands to be mended. Most crimes you see are earthly matters. They are born of greed, of jealousy, of simple human passions that are all too familiar to us. But then there are the other kinds of crimes, the ones that whisper of things beyond our understanding. These are what one might call mystic crimes. They are wrapped in shadows and secrets, hinting at forces that are not of this world. These crimes are not just about who did it, but how it was done in a way that seems to defy all logic and reason. What truly makes a crime mystic is the element of the impossible. Imagine a man found in a locked room with no windows and the key on the inside, or a prophecy that comes true in the most dreadful way, leading to a terrible demise. It is the presence of the supernatural, or at least the appearance of it. These are not simple matters of a hidden weapon or a secret passage. They involve ancient curses, ghostly apparitions, or strange rituals that seem to hold a dark power. The crime scene itself often tells a story that science cannot easily explain, leaving everyone from the police to the public completely bewildered and searching for answers in the darkness. People react to such events with a mix of fear and deep fascination. It is human nature, after all, to be drawn to the unknown. When a crime seems to have roots in magic or the spirit world, it touches a very old and primal part of our minds. We are at once terrified by the thought that there are things we cannot control or comprehend, yet we are also incredibly curious. We want to peek behind the curtain. Is it truly a ghost that haunts the old manor, or is it a clever trick, a deception designed to hide a very human killer? This question is what keeps people talking in hushed tones over their morning tea. This fascination creates a unique atmosphere around the investigation. The usual methods of police work seem to fall short. How does one interview a ghost or dust for the fingerprints of a phantom? The public, for their part, often divides into two camps. There are the believers, who are quick to accept a supernatural explanation for the strange events. Then there are the skeptics, who insist that there must be a logical, rational answer, no matter how cleverly it is hidden. This tension between belief and disbelief adds another layer to the already complex puzzle, making the crime all the more compelling to follow and to solve. The appeal of a mystic crime lies in its challenge to our intellect. It forces us to question the very nature of reality as we know it. A simple murder for money is a tragedy, of course, but it is one we can understand. The motives are clear, the methods familiar, but a death foretold by a tarot card reading or a precious jewel that vanishes from a sealed vault without a trace is something else entirely. It is a direct challenge to our sense of order and reason. It tells us that the world may not be as neat and tidy as we believe it to be. This is what makes it so irresistible. We cannot help but want to know the secret. Consider the famous tale of the Hound of the Baskervilles. Here we have a story of a noble family haunted by a demonic, ghostly hound that roams the moors. The legend is old, feared, and seems to be coming true once more. The fear it inspires in the local people is very real. They believe in the curse, in the supernatural beast that hunts the family line. This is a perfect example of a mystic crime. The mystery is not just about who is responsible for the recent death, but also about the nature of the hound itself. Is it a creature from hell or something far more earthly and cunning? Another example from a different sort of story is the one where a group of people are gathered in an isolated house. One by one, they are murdered according to the lines of an old nursery rhyme. The deaths seem fated, almost as if an unseen hand of destiny is at work. Each murder is a performance, a strange and macabre play for an unknown audience. The sense of dread comes from the feeling that the killer is not just a person, but an embodiment of the rhyme itself. It creates a feeling of helplessness, as if the victims are caught in a trap from which there is no escape. Their fate's already written in the words of a children's song. These stories resonate with us because they tap into our deepest fears and curiosities. The fear of the dark, the fear of curses, the fear of the unknown. These are things that have been with humanity for a very long time. A mystic crime brings these fears to life. It presents us with a scenario where our modern scientific world collides with an older, more mysterious one. The question of whether magic is real or just an illusion is at the very heart of the conflict. And it is a question that we, as readers or observers, desperately want to see answered by the story's end. Solving a mystic crime requires a very particular kind of mind. It is not enough to be a good policeman who follows procedure. One must be a student of human nature, a master of observation, and a firm believer in the power of logic. The hero or detective who tackles such a case is often the only one who refuses to be swayed by the talk of ghosts and goblins. They see the supposed supernatural events not as magic but as misdirection. They understand that the more impossible a crime appears, the more likely it is that a clever human mind is behind it, using illusion to conceal their true actions. The first step for the detective is always to gather the facts, no matter how strange they seem. They listen patiently to the stories of ghostly sightings and ancient curses. They examine the scene of the crime with meticulous care, looking for the tiny detail that everyone else has missed. While others are looking up at the heavens for an explanation, the detective is looking down at the ground, searching for a dropped button, a faint footprint, or a misplaced speck of dust. They know that the truth is always found in the small, tangible things, not in the grand, unbelievable tales that people tell themselves to make sense of the chaos. The detective then uses what I like to call the little grey cells. They sit back, perhaps in a comfortable armchair with a cup of tea, and they think. They arrange the facts in their mind, looking for patterns and connections that are not immediately obvious. They consider the psychology of everyone involved. Who benefits from the belief in a supernatural curse? Who has the knowledge to create such a clever illusion? The solution to a mystic crime is often found not in the physical evidence alone, but in understanding the deep, hidden motives of the people caught up in the drama. The magic is almost always a performance, and the detective must figure out who the magician is. Finally, the detective brings everyone together for the grand reveal. This is a crucial moment. It is where the fog of mystery is cleared away by the bright light of reason. The detective explains, step by step, how the impossible was achieved. The locked room had a hidden mechanism. The ghostly figure was a trick of light and shadow. The ancient curse was simply a story used to manipulate the fearful. By revealing the simple, logical truth behind the complex illusion, the detective not only solves the crime, but also restores order to the world. They prove that human reason is more powerful than any superstition. So why do these stories of mystic crimes continue to hold such power over our imaginations? I believe it is because they offer us the best of both worlds. For a little while, they allow us to entertain the possibility of magic and mystery. They let us feel the thrill and the chill of the unknown, the excitement of a world where anything could be possible. We can imagine that curses are real and that ghosts walk among us. This is a delightful escape from our ordinary, predictable lives. It is a chance to believe in something more, something strange and wonderful, even if it is also a little frightening. At the same time, these stories provide the deep satisfaction of a puzzle being solved. After all the suspense and confusion, we are given a clear and logical explanation. The detective shows us that even the most baffling mystery has a rational solution if one is clever enough to find it. This is incredibly reassuring. It confirms our belief that order can be restored, that truth will prevail, and that the human mind is capable of overcoming any challenge, no matter how daunting it may seem at first. We get to experience the thrill of the supernatural without having to abandon our faith in reason. Furthermore, mystic crimes explore the fascinating theme of deception. They show us how easily people can be fooled, especially when their own fears and beliefs are used against them. The killer in these stories is often not just a murderer, but a brilliant stage magician, a master of psychology who plays upon the superstitions of others. This makes them a far more interesting adversary than a common thug. We are captivated by their ingenuity, even as we condemn their actions. The battle is not one of physical strength, but of wits, a duel between the deceiver and the detective who seeks to unmask them. In the end, mystic crimes endure because they are the ultimate puzzle box. They are wrapped in layers of illusion, psychology, and superstition, and at their core is a very human drama. They challenge us to look beyond the obvious, to question everything, and to use our own powers of deduction to see the truth. They remind us that the most mysterious force in the world is not some phantom or ghoul, but the complex and often contradictory nature of the human heart. And that, my dear reader, is a mystery that will never lose its power to fascinate and intrigue us.